So if you can see with me in question 3, they've asked you to prepare realization account, 14% preference shareholders account and equity shareholders account in the books of X Limited. That part we have completed yesterday. You can see on the Jamboard screen itself, which I am also sharing on one of the links, as well as you can see while opening the Jamboard application. Okay, so we have completed uh, entries in the books of X Limited. So what we did was in the books of X Limited, what we did was in the last lecture. Now we write the journal entries in the books of Y Limited. Journal entries in the books of Y Limited. Let, let us start journal entries in the books of Y Limited. Okay. I hope you're all with me, ready with your pen, calculator, your mobile phone, obviously, with Jamboard application open on it. Okay. Shall we start? Okay. Let us begin then. So, writing the journal entries in the books of Y Limited. So, Y Limited is purchasing. I'm not making the columns and everything. I hope you'll be able to manage. Columns of journal entry you already know. Serial number, particulars, LF, debit, credit. We start with the entries. First entry is for purchasing the business. So, entry will be business. In exam, make sure you prepare proper columns and you write the journal entries with narrations. There are marks for writing narrations, so make sure you write the narrations. Those marks. So you are purchasing business with the purchase consideration of 13,50,000, right? To to liquidators of X Limited. To liquidators of X Limited, you need to pay 13,50,000, right? Fine. Then being the business of X Limited purchase, in case you want to write, right? Now we'll be writing regarding the assets and liabilities. Okay. So what you are getting as assets you will debit, and what you have to pay as liability you need to credit. So land and building. Now you have to write new values, right? Whatever is the new value given in the adjustment, that you have to write. You always remember that, because you are writing in the books of the purchaser. So purchaser will record at new values, not the old values. Plant and machinery account debit. Land and building was 10 lakhs. Plant and machinery is 9 lakhs, right? Moving on, you have also taken furniture. So furniture account debit. Furniture account debit 2 lakh 10,000, right? The next asset is investment account. Investment account debit amount is 1 lakh, right? Then comes stock. Stock account. Stock value of the stock is 4,50,000. You need to check if new values are given, take new value. If nothing is mentioned, then you can take the old value. Debtors account. 4,80,000. Then comes bank account. Okay. So after taking the assets, write the entries for liabilities, debentures, what you're paying, what amount you're paying. You're paying with premium 8 lakhs for the debentures of X Limited. So new value is to be written. To creditors, creditors 4 lakh. To business purchase, business purchase. Now you are paying less and you are getting more. You can just check. See, if your credit amounts are more and debit amounts are less, then you have to write goodwill account debit. In this case, debit amounts are more if you do the total than the credit amounts. So you transfer the balancing amount to capital reserve as your profit on purchasing the business, capital profit. This is the balancing figure, right? You need to find this amount. It is not given directly. So that amount is 8,90,000. So narration, assets and liabilities taken over. Being assets, being assets and liabilities taken over. Understood this entry? We have done similar entries number of times, right? While doing the chapter. Okay. I hope you are all doing entries along with me. We'll come to the adjustment of debentures in a while. While paying the amount to debentures, we'll have to look at the adjustment of debentures. See, right now I've written the amount of debentures. What is the point of debenture? Each debenture of X Limited discharged by Y Limited by issuing 15% debentures at a premium of 60. So you can just make out that for the debentures of 8 lakhs, you are going to pay uh, nominal debenture is 100. You are going to pay debenture at a premium of 60, but the value of debenture is going to remain at 100. That will come to the payment when you pay to 8 lakhs. 5 lakhs will be for the debentures and 3 lakh will be paid as premium. We'll come to that entry in a while. Come to the third entry of the in the books of Y Limited. Third entry. Third entry is for making the payment of purchase consideration. So you are going to make the payment to liquidators of X Limited account. Liquidator of X Limited account debit. What amount you're going to pay? You're going to pay 13,50,000 to to equity share capital. You're going to pay equity share holders 7,50,000, and you're also going to pay to preference shareholders 15% preference capital, that is 6 lakh, right? And the last entry for making the payment to debenture holders, fourth entry, So the debenture holders are 12% debentures account debit. You need to pay total 8 lakhs, right? Right. Total 8 lakhs. Now divide 8 lakhs by 160. That will be the number of debentures that you will issue. Why you are giving less debentures? Because instead of 12% debentures, you are issuing 15% debentures. I'm writing the working here in case you don't understand the amount of debentures. So 8 lakhs divided by 160 into 100 will be the value of debentures, and 8 lakhs divided by 160 into 60. So that will be the amount of premium. I hope you are able to understand by this working. To securities premium account. So to 15% debentures, the amount is 5 lakh. If you solve the working I've shown below, and premium amount will be 3 lakh. This is what you need to do. If you see the overall example question 3, it was very easy, right? I hope you understood it. It's not that difficult at all. Okay. I've written the entries on page number 12 of Jamboard. Please complete it fast. Okay. Very shortly, we'll move to the next example. Please complete it, those who are still doing it. I'm sorry, I've not changed the slide on the Jamboard. That's why you were just having a look at uh, the accounts that we prepared in the books of X Limited. I'm just doing it, and then we'll move to the next sum. So here we go. I've shared the entries with you. Okay, we move on to the next sum now. Next example, option against the question 3 is again following were the balance sheet of P Limited and V Limited. The balance sheet of two companies are given. On the above date, P Limited takes over the business of V Limited. Now they have given you terms and conditions for purchase of business. New values are given. Okay. Issue 15% preference shares of 100 each to discharge preference shares. 65% paid in cash and remaining amount in the form of equity shares. Now whenever they say this word remaining amount, that means you need to calculate the purchase consideration by net assets method. So after calculating purchase consideration, you have to distribute the purchase consideration between equity shares, preference shares and cash, right? And then you can go on with the accounts entries or making the balance sheet after amalgamation, whatever they ask you in the exam. This is what you need to follow looking to the question. Now, in the question, they've asked you to prepare realization account, 12% preference shareholder account, and equity shareholder account, just like in the previous example. Also, pass the entries in the books of P Limited, assuming the amalgamation was in the nature of purchase. Now, this is new and read of the balance sheet of P Limited. For this purpose of making the balance sheet after amalgamation in the nature of merger or purchase, I have made you do two illustration time and again. I have mentioned you that you need to keep on practicing these two sums because these two sums are like standard sums. If you understand these two sums, you will understand the process of going on with the sum of merger purchase, and you can easily prepare balance sheet. So I'll request all of you again that whenever you get time and you practice sums, do illustration 9 and 10 from the book. That will help you to understand and get the concept of merger purchase and preparing balance sheet after it. Okay, so moving on with this example, as I said, we need to prepare the prepare the first find the purchase consideration. Okay, it's the first step of doing it. So let us start. Just a second. I'm doing this sum on the 13th page of Jamboard. You can switch over to page number 13 for doing sum alongside me. So let us begin. First, we need to calculate the purchase consideration. This is question 3, option sum. In this, you have to do amalgamation and balance sheet as per purchase method. This is what the sum is all about, right? So let us go on with the example. Let us start. Calculation of purchase consideration. Okay, so first, for calculating purchase consideration, you have to take the new values and you need to find what is the amount of purchase consideration you're paying, and then you can think about distribution of purchase consideration, how you're paying the purchase consideration. So Under the heading calculation of purchase consideration, write the first item, that is values of assets taken over. You can just write assets taken over with the new values. Assets taken over, assets taken over. In that, you can go step by step looking to the adjustments. Plant and machinery, plant and machinery, 90,000. Then comes other fixed assets, other fixed assets. The amount is 40,000. Okay. Then comes stock, stock amount is 80,000. Then comes debtors, the amount is 1,20,000. Then comes bank, 90,000. Right? So do the total of all the assets, 90 plus 40 plus 80 plus 120 plus 90. So you'll get 4,20,000. From this, whatever liability you are taking over, creditors, creditors 20,000. So that's it. You get the purchase consideration, purchase, purchase consideration, purchase consideration 4 lakh. Any doubt in calculation of purchase consideration? Anyone? Is anyone who has not understood calculation of purchase consideration? Okay, so we shall go ahead. No one is having any doubts. We go ahead with payment of purchase consideration. Next point is payment of purchase consideration. Okay, payment of purchase consideration. They have said preference shares are given, preference share capital. For this, they have said uh, preference shares are issued same number of new shares at 10% premium. So you are going to issue preference shares 1000 shares existing multiplied by 110 because it is at a premium of 10. So that will be 1,10,000, right? And then you are also issuing, you are also giving cash. So it's a lump sum amount that you're going to pay 65,000, right? And you also know that you need to pay total 4 lakhs because just now only you calculated the purchase consideration which is 4 lakh. So that means the balancing figure that will be equity shares, right? So equity shares, this is what is not given directly, you found out. So equity shares will be, what will be the balancing figure? Balancing figure, equity share, the amount will be, balancing figure will be 2 lakh 25,000. Okay. Now, how this 2,25,000 will be paid in equity shares? Remaining amount of purchase consideration is discharged by issue of equity shares of rupees 10 each at rupees 15 per share. So divide this amount by 15. Divide this amount by 15. So 2,25,000 divided by 15. So that will be how many shares? That will be 15,000 shares into 15 each. So this is what you have found out, which was not given. This is the balancing figure that you have found out. Okay, clear? Now we start with the entries. Now come to the question what they have asked. You need to prepare close the books of V Limited. So give the heading in the books of V Limited. Entries in the books of V Limited. In that you have to prepare accounts. Which accounts they've asked? Which accounts they've asked? Realization account, realization account. Then they asked preference shares holders account and equity. Okay. So let us start with it. Let us start. So first of all, you can just transfer the balances of preference capital and equity capital to their respective accounts. Capital, preference capital is 1 lakh, and here I will be writing little smaller handwriting to complete on this screen itself. So equity capital balances. Equity capital is 3 lakhs. Right. Now transfer all the assets and liabilities at the original values, that is the book values. Don't take the new values into consideration because we are writing entries in the books of V Limited, that is the vendor. Right. So let us transfer the assets and liabilities to plant and machinery. Step by step, we'll go on with the example. To other fixed assets, just write the original values. Don't take into consideration the new values. To stock, 90,000. Debtors, 1 lakh 20,000. Okay, 1 lakh 20,000. Then to bank, 90,000. And the liabilities that are taken over by creditors, 20,000. We have recorded assets and liabilities. Now it's time to record the purchase consideration. Who is the buyer? Purchaser company P Limited. P Limited purchase consideration. The purchase consideration is decided at 4 lakh, 4 lakh, right? Now, after recording purchase consideration, get the amount of purchase consideration in the form of shares. So, preference shareholders will get preference shares of P Limited. They are getting shares worth 1,10,000, and equity shareholders will get shares of P Limited. Equity shares of P Limited. What is the amount? 2,25,000. Okay. Equity shareholders are also to get the reserves of the business. So just write the entry of reserves. Now, if you see the preference shareholders account, instead of 1 lakh, they are getting 1,10,000. So they are getting a profit. So by realization, profit 10,000. Close preference shareholders account. It's quite similar to what we did in the previous example. These three accounts remains almost the same, and way of doing remains the same. Again, on shareholders, preference shareholders, 10,000 profit. Now find out profit or loss for equity shareholders. They are also going to get whatever cash they have received, they will get it. So to bank also they will get 65,000. Find out the profit or loss of realization and transfer to equity shareholder, and then your account gets closed. All the accounts gets closed. So there's a loss. So by equity shareholders, balancing figure, balancing figure 90,000. Close the account of realization. Total will be 5,10,000. Okay, and to realization 90,000. Please check your all the accounts should tally and get closed. So equity gets closed at 3,80,000. 3,80,000. That's it. Your accounts are closed in the books of V Limited. All right. I hope you are able to understand now. It's very simple to solve a sum of amalgamation if you go step by step, right? Now, the kind of sums we have done in all, you should be confident enough to score in amalgamation absorption sums as well, right? It's very simple to go step by step and get to the answer. In case you want to make any additional accounts, you can definitely make. Taranjit is saying that she want to. I mean, if you want to make P Limited's account, you can definitely make. There is no problem of making additional accounts. It's just that when they ask you certain amount accounts, you need to make sure that you prepare those accounts. In addition to those accounts, you can prepare any number of accounts. Uh, make P Limited's account. There is no issue. Shall we go ahead now? The next step is come back to the question what they've asked. Pass journal entries in the books of P Limited, assuming the amalgamation in the nature of purchase, and then you need to prepare new balance sheet. So first we pass the entries and then we'll prepare the new balance sheet. Okay. So let us start entries in the books of P Limited. Come to page number 14. Page number 14 in Jamboon. Let us start journal entries in the books of journal entries in the books of P Limited. Okay. First entry. First entry for purchasing the business. So entry almost remains the same what we have done in the previous example. Business purchase account debit 4 lakh. 2. Liquidators of V Limited 4 lakh. Then comes the entry of transfer, getting the assets and liabilities. So entry will be, now again you have to write new values, right? When you write in the books of buyer, a transferee company, you need to write at the new values. So plant 90,000. You can check your purchase consideration, fix that net assets so that you can get the new values directly. 40,000. Stock 80,000. Debtors 'debtors', debtors are 1,20,000. Then you're also getting the bank 90,000. Two creditors, two creditors. Now you have found purchase consideration by net assets. So there won't be anything else. So you can straight away to business purchase, right? Now you need to pay the purchase consideration. Purchase consideration, third entry, liquidator of V Limited. I may sound little faster because we are solving papers and it is expected that you have already revised the chapters and you are learning at the same speed at which I am teaching you all. If I go slow now, we won't be able to practice, many sums with the remaining lectures we have. So that's why I am going little faster so that we can cover more university sums in the coming lectures. Securities premium is given to securities premium 75,000. You can again separate preference capital and its securities premium, and you can write it together. You can even separate the security premium you are paying to preference share capital, preference shareholders. That can be done. amount should tally with the debit balance and credit balance. So with this, we have completed the entries in the books of P Limited. We go on to the last step of this example, and thereby we'll be able to complete the paper, that is preparing new balance sheet. Right? So balance sheet of P Limited, balance sheet of P Limited, amalgamation in the nature of amalgamation in the nature of purchase. Right? Let us start. I will not be making a very standard balance sheet. Will be very quick to complete the balance sheet part. So the headings will be particulars, rupees, rupees. First will be equity and liabilities. Right? In that we have share capital, share capital. In that we'll have equity, share capital. You tell me the amounts total of the two capitals. Take the capital of P, existing capital of P, plus new shares issued by P to the shareholders of V. So that will be 9 lakhs plus 1 lakh 50,000. So you can write in inner column. In fact, you can even write in outer column. There is no harm in it. So 10 lakh 50,000. Then comes then comes 12%. In case you want to show working notes, that's fine. You can show it. But when the sum is of 14 marks and you already done so much of it in the sum, you're not expected to do a standard way of doing or preparing a balance sheet. A simple balance sheet will do. 12%, that is the existing share preference shares of P, right? Then the new share issued to, you can again 1 lakh and 10,000 will be written under securities premium. After share capital comes reserves and surplus. Now you are preparing balance sheet as per purchase method, wherein you will focus only on the reserves of other than statutory reserves will be considered only for P Limited. So we'll write only for P Limited 60,000. Then securities premium, securities premium of both, securities premium of both 1 lakh, 10,000 plus 75,000. So that will be 85,000. Equity and preference security premium that was given. And then current liabilities, creditors, creditors 60,000. So that's it on the liability side. Please refer to the merger purchase sums, that is sum number 9 and 10 of the book, so that you understand such things very easily when we do such sums of university. Under assets, we get non-current assets heading. As I said, you can make working notes for each item of balance sheet, right? So plant and machinery 5 lakh plus 90,000, that is 5 lakh 90,000. Other fixed assets, the total of the two 5 lakh plus 40,000, 5 lakh 40,000. Stock, total of the two 1 lakh 40 plus 80, 2 lakh 20. Then debtors, 1 lakh. I don't have space here on this page, so kindly bear with it. 3 lakh 15,000. Then comes bank, 1 lakh 90,000, and that's it. To the total, it's 18 lakh 55,000. With this, we end this paper. We'll just see the theory questions that were asked in this year. You had to write any three short notes for 12 marks, that is 4 marks each. Difference between amalgamation, the nature of merger, and in the nature of purchase. We've discussed in great depth when we started this chapter of our merger purchase amalgamation, that is. Explain the order of payment when the company is liquidated. Again, a topic that was discussed in great depth when we did the chapter. So I hope you will be able to understand, remember, and write properly for such theory question. Then what are the points of difference between amalgamation and absorption? Then procedure of share brokers registration. Distinguish between share broker and sub broker. So these were the theory questions that were asked in November 2018. So all in all, this year's paper was easy, I guess. You can easily score good marks if such paper comes this year for your university exam. So keep preparing for your university exams. You know the timetable, and in the next class, we'll be doing next